Hey, what's going on guys, Chris here, and today we're going to be checking out two of Battlefield 1's most devastating support weapons, comparing all of their stats and subtle differences, and seeing which gun is best at killing, staying on target, and keeping you in the fight. In this video I'm going to be putting two rapid firing German machine guns side by side, the lMG 0818, an air-cooled lighter version of the 0815, along with the Parabellum MG14 17, a redesign of the 0815 which was intended to be used on aircraft. Both of these guns have quite a lot of similarities, and are probably going to fit in well with aggressive support players who like to lay down the fire and shred through the opposition. But there's a few things to make one more ideal than the other in certain situations, perhaps being more suitable for a specific playstyle, and performing better than the other weapon as a result. So let's take a look at those stats and see exactly how the two guns compare, taking all of those main factors into account, and explaining all the pros, cons and subtle differences along the way. Here we go. Now of course, one of the main reasons why you'd probably opt for either the lMG 0818 or the Parabellum in the first place is because they're both extremely deadly bullet spewing machines that can potentially snuff out your opponents at some of the quickest speeds in the game. This is mainly down to the combination of the weapon's high fire rates and reasonable damage outputs, as the two guns actually share the same damage figures, which makes sense with them both being chambered to fire the same round. The 0818 and the Parabellum both deal a maximum damage of 28 up to 11 meters. But from this point on, the damage drops off significantly down to 25 just 1 meter further, and then gradually gets weaker from here, eventually reaching the minimum damage output of 21 at 35 meters. These figures might sound a bit complex, but all this means is that you'll be able to take someone down in just 4 bullets up to 12 meters, and then 5 beyond here. And because neither of the two guns' damage values drop below 21, like some of the other support weapons, this means that hitting a limb over those further distances isn't going to be as problematic, as you're not going to be penalised for that limb shot, which could drop the damage below 20, which would equate to an extra 6 shot to kill. Because you're firing out lots of bullets quickly, hitting an enemy's arm, leg or lower body over range is pretty much inevitable, especially with the two guns having a fair amount of kick, which we'll talk a bit more about later. But the fact that you're able to kill any normal enemy with full health in up to 5 shots is pretty nice, and this helps to further improve those kill times over mid-ranges, making the two weapons even deadlier still. Though when comparing the 0818 with the Parabellum, it's safe to say that the Parabellum is going to have a clear advantage in terms of its lethality, as you'd probably assume. And this is all down to the fact that it fires 17% faster, at 700 RPM, rather than 600 RPM like the 0818. The 0818 still shoots at a pretty fast pace, putting it in line with the BAR, and this still makes it one of the fastest killing support weapons in the game over all distances. But the Parabellum's just got that slight edge in terms of speed, allowing it to deliver that damage quicker and bring your opponents down in less time, making the Parabellum the most dangerous option of the two. So with both weapons firing lots of bullets very quickly, this is going to impact their recoil stats in a negative way, and make them more violent than a lot of the other support lMGs, as you'd naturally expect. But although the 0818 and the Parabellum are fairly similar, these recoil and spread stats are actually very different from one another, which is going to affect the way the guns behave when you squeeze the trigger. With the Parabellum shooting a tad faster than the lMG 0818, this does reflect on its accuracy and its ability to land shots on target reliably, as it's got quite a lot more horizontal recoil, causing the barrel to drift more from side to side in fully automatic fire, and therefore causing more shots to miss in the process, with the Parabellum having left and rightwards figures of 0.8, the highest horizontal figures in the whole class I should add, whereas the 0818 on the other hand has left and right values of 0.575 instead, basically making it 28% more accurate. This probably isn't really a massive surprise, the gun with the higher fire rate has the worst accuracy, okay. But with that said, not everything is as it seems. The Parabellum might kick around more from side to side, though its vertical recoil value is in fact lower, at a value of 0.38, with the 0818 actually having slightly higher value than this at 0.42. Not exactly a huge difference, but still a small advantage on the Parabellum's behalf nevertheless, meaning it's not going to kick upwards quite as much as you open fire, giving you 10% extra stability. Spread stats for aiming down the sights and hip firing are pretty much identical, as both guns are going to be drastically affected by spread if you're in ADS and shooting whilst on the move. I'd probably suggest not doing this if you can, as your shots are going to fly all over the place. And this is something that's going to limit the weapon's run and gun capabilities outside of point blank ranges. Though speaking of spread, the lMG 0818 can reach its maximum accuracy in one less bullet than the Parabellum when you're firing in longer streams, so this kinda makes up for that small gap in rate of fire, and puts them more on a level playing field. There's one more pretty big advantage that the 0818 has over the Parabellum though, and that's the fact that it's got a much lower first shot recoil multiplier of 1.25 times instead of 1.8 times, allowing the 0818 to perform better when tap and burst firing, and making it a bit easier for you to counter the gun's slightly higher vertical recoil, which will probably make it a bit more precise over those longer ranges. Neither of the guns have particularly good recoil stats, but the lMG 0818 will generally be the more accurate choice of the two. It'll probably seem easier to land shots on target outside of those closer proximities, though do remember to use your bipod whenever you can, as this is going to massively boost the accuracy of both machine guns and increase their effective range in the process. Now both the lMG 0818 and the Parabellum MG14 fire the same round and can hold quite a lot of them, with the low weight variants of both weapons, along with the Parabellum suppressive containing up to 100 cartridges at a time, and with the 0818 suppressive variant holding up to 200, at twice the capacity. So already, this is quite an interesting difference to note, perhaps giving the 0818 suppressive variant a bigger advantage in terms of it containing more ammo at a time. With the two guns burning through those bullets at a rapid rate, having a larger ammo capacity is going to be extremely useful in most cases, whether you're taking on a bunch of players within close quarters or gunning them down from further away using that bipod. Support machine guns that hold lots of ammo can often take more time to reload than normal, and it's safe to say that both the 0818 and the Parabellum follow this pattern. Though surprisingly, the Parabellum actually has the fastest reload times out of the two, with it taking between 6 to 7.3 seconds to perform a tactical reload, basically replacing 1 to 99 rounds. Obviously, the more shots you've fired, the longer the reload, though once you've emptied the belt, it's going to take 6.9 seconds. The 0818, however, has longer tactical and full reload times, with it taking between 7.1 to 9.8 seconds for its tactical reloads and 8.4 seconds when the gun's running on empty, so an extra second or two than the Parabellum. And if you're using that 200 round suppressive variant, you're going to be penalised even further, with tactical reloads taking up to 12.5 seconds if the ammo in your belt drops below 50, which is a really bloody long time to wait if you want to get back into the action, especially if you get caught out in an awkward position. Both weapons are going to overheat after firing off 35 rounds, so in this sense, the two guns are on par with each other, having similar suppressive capabilities. Though I guess because the Parabellum shoots faster, and is more likely to miss a few shots down to it having that higher horizontal recoil, this will probably mean that it's going to seem to overheat quicker, especially if you're skipping from target to target, trying to gun them all down in one continuous stream of bullets. Plus it also means that you're likely to run out of shots quicker too, possibly limiting the amount of players you can take on per reload, with ammo being less manageable, due to that combination of lower accuracy and higher fire rate. So despite the Parabellum reloading slightly quicker, you'll probably need to reload more frequently as a result, with more shots being wasted. So this kinda balances the two guns a bit more for their reliability, though no matter which weapon you choose, you've got quite a lot of bullets at your disposal once you've reloaded, so at least you don't need to worry about running out of shots if you come across multiple enemies within a short space of time. Always handy if you've successfully flanked the enemy team, and need enough rounds to mow down a squad of unsuspecting players before they have a chance to react. So, which gun should you choose? Both the lMG 0818 and the Parabellum MG14 are considered to be two of the support class's angriest passive-aggressive weapons, best used in stationary positions with that bipod setup, but at the same time a bit closer to the action to take advantage of those brutal kill times and to land more shots on target. Though there's definitely a lot of subtle differences to separate the two and give them their own pros and cons in certain scenarios, and due to the way they behave, the weapons are going to be better suited to specific ranges too. The lMG 0818 might have a slightly lower fire rate, but due to the way it kicks less horizontally to make it more precise, regaining accuracy quicker, and generally being a more usable gun for tap firing, this allows it to excel over longer ranges than the Parabellum, which, even with its bipod setup, can really struggle to stay on target when taking on someone over those longer ranges. This might make the 0818 a slightly more defensive choice, which can still be effective up on the front lines in dangerous territory, but will perhaps be stronger for mid-ranged engagements, or even longer distances too if you take advantage of that lower first shot recoil multiplier, and tap fire the gun to land more shots on target. The Parabellum on the other hand will be more suitable for suppressing and essentially peppering your enemies with hot lead a bit closer to the fight within closer ranges, as if you're not using that bipod, the Parabellum is barely even going to be usable outside of close quarters. though even with its bipod setup, it can still be a fairly difficult thing to manage at times, especially if you're taking on a player beyond medium range. The Parabellum is obviously going to be the deadliest option, due to it potentially having faster kill times with that quicker fire rate, but because it's going to miss more shots, this is going to affect those kill times, often making them longer than the 0818s if you're shooting at someone further away. The only way to really take advantage of the Parabellum's lethality is if you're playing with an aggressive mindset, but at the same time, using that bipod whenever you can. It'll run out of shots at a faster pace, but it also reloads at a quicker pace too. So although the 0818 might seem to manage with its available ammo a bit better, its slower reloads will leave you more vulnerable for longer if you're in close quarters, which might enforce the idea of it being a slightly less aggressive weapon than the Parabellum. Either way, both weapons have a similar function in the game, and are often only really going to be effective within closer ranges, unless you're using their bipods of course. But the Parabellum will probably seem like the more dangerous choice in CQC, used for run and gun situations in tight spaces, and for killing or suppressing players advancing on your position within close to medium ranges. Whereas the lMG 0818 might not fire as fast, but its higher accuracy and ease of use will generally allow it to perform better against targets far away over those medium ranges, and beyond. Possibly acting as a more well-rounded passive-aggressive option that isn't limited to those closer proximities. So that's pretty much it for another Battlefield 1 weapon comparison, guys. Hope you enjoyed the guide, maybe learned a thing or two. If you did, you know what to do. And subscribe for loads of other Battlefield videos just like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in that next episode.